Let's get it. Right. What is happening, everyone? This is the first episode of Hunting for a Haunt podcast. We're doing a podcast because at the minute we can't get out to do anything else, being like investigations and stuff. So I thought, fuck it, let's just bring loads of people on and get everyone talking about the weird and wonderful world of craziness. So I'm going to be your main host, and then I've got my co-host, aka Thomas, Tomo, Tug Tug Toma Tom Ron, aka Tom. So yeah,
Oh,
introduce yourself and tell us a bit. Well, tell everyone a bit about you. Like,
oh, shit. I'm Tom, and I do stream occasionally. I do. I am autistic, which is you don't really need to know, but it's just put it out there if the conversation goes slightly awkward, or even if you see me on my stream and I'm slightly awkward, that's why.
it's good. It's good. Well, actually, we'll start off with that then, because to be honest with you, not a lot of people know this, but with, especially with paranormal, a lot of people who have got some sort of, we'll just call it disability, more in tune to pick up paranormal activity, just encounters and stuff. So you see a lot of people who with, especially a lot of it's like children going through like puberty and stuff, because the bodies are changing and trying to adapt. You'll see
Yeah.
a lot of difference in their behavior, especially when it comes to the what we class as the phenomenon of like imaginary friends, because there's a majority of imaginary friends that are supposedly to be dead people. But I just think it's because they're more in tune with it. Same with animals. Animals are on a different level. So people with autism have got a different, like the brainwave functions differently. So I don't want to suggest it, but there's probably a high possibility that you're more in tune with the paranormal than the majority of normal people.
One, I've just not realised it.
Yeah,
It's just the everyday norm.
yeah. Some people never see it. Some people are just very.
Well, I've had doctors turn around and said I'm not wired up right. That's for sure.
There you go. Then like fucking. So it wouldn't surprise. Like you're not gonna be surprised if you start seeing dead people everywhere. Like it's kind of a thing.
Yeah. I was talking with someone and they said their son has seen that. They started talking to someone, and it turns out supposedly he was talking to his granddad who was dead, and he's what 6?
6. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's yeah. It's a weird thing because parents who were well not parents but society will class it also as like imaginary friends. But then you have to think like, and obviously most children, unless they've got some like sociopathic or psychopathic tendencies, depending where they're from. Like, obviously, all children have an imagination, have a good imagination, but to imagine like having an imaginary friend, that's not like come on, like I mean differences in like if you go to your kid or who's your imaginary friend and then like she's like oh it's a multicolored unicorn that farts rainbows, then it's in full imagination, like there's nothing different
yeah,
about it. But when they're coming to you and saying oh it's a little girl in this dress and she looks like this and she does this and she's got this and she speaks this way and they're racking off all these details, at what point does it become imaginary to then actually seeing
it's a real. Yeah,
a dead person? So it's
he just, that just what he was talking like that. Have you seen the film Drop Dead Fred?
I have, yeah.
It reminds me of that a bit.
Yeah, it'd be similar to that. Yeah, it'd just be
Because everyone couldn't see him apart from her.
yeah, and
Which,
it's such a it's such a weird concept that it doesn't get spoke about enough because it's very one, it's to do with children, so it's a very touchy subject when you come into talking about children and their growth into adolescence or just the teenage years and stuff. So it's I don't know, it's such a specific thing to do. It's weird that no one like. I think people just pass it off being like, okay, but deep down they've got to understand that there's a chance that your child's talking to some complete different entity, like not even like imaginary, like imagining it anymore. So it's kind of it goes hand in hand with like any mental health things, because even like because obviously with you being autistic and stuff, some people are like on a higher spectrum, so they can't really communicate like verbally.
Well, yeah, because you've got autism and then Asperger's.
That's what, yeah.
There's like two kind. I say two kinds. It's all along the same kind of line, but some are more extreme than others. And then you've got this some autistic people that have that savant syndrome.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you've seen The Good Doctor or anything, but
Yeah, have you?
yeah, it's similar to that.
Yeah. So it's like
Well,
so
I've had
go on.
people turn around and say, "What's your?" When you say you're autistic, they go, "What's your gift?" I don't know.
Yeah, like yeah.
I can juggle. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, that's just the ignorance of the world, though. That's them being like they presume because they've seen one autistic kid who can like paint like freaking some crazy like good
Da
stuff.
Vinci or
Yeah, like Da Vinci or freaking anybody like that. They automatically, it's just society automatically presuming that
yeah, or
everyone.
they've seen it on TV. Do you know, like I say, The Good Doctor. It's like, well, he's autistic, so what gift have you got?
Yeah, it's that. Well, that coincides. They see this is what coincides with the paranormal. See, because it's a lot of people was just expecting to talk about like because a lot of people were asking like, oh, what are you going to talk about? You're just going to talk about paranormal, which is okay and stuff, but people don't understand like everything that coincides with other things. So even just going off that subject there of being like people like what like people need to stop taking TV like so serious. Like it's such a
Yeah,
especially if you're trying to get into like a certain field because we all like it obviously the paranormal is it's all down to belief at this point because there's no at some point there'd be some real footage but there's that much bullshit out there now, i.e. fucking YouTube, the internet, people faking it for views, just
I was
utter
going to say,
nonsense.
you've got people that are shit hot on editing software,
Yeah,
and you can make anything look real.
and it's that then it's the
And
mindset of trying to figure out what's bullshit to what's real. But people will see telly even to this day, even though I've done like done enough investigations to warrant myself, not professionally because obviously I don't do it as a profession, but I've done enough
yeah,
investigations. I've seen enough stuff to understand that when someone asks me a question, they're asking it because they've watched a TV show and they're not really like a ghost hunting show, but they're not realizing that it's dramatized because it's for TV and it has to be over exaggerated because you need to get your views. Otherwise, what's the point of it?
it's entertainment purposes. It's like theatre.
Yeah.
Everything's over dramatized.
So it's such a it's such a damage like so like the paranormal is such a damaging aspect because at this point in human evolution to where we are now because of technology it's like oh we've got enough technology to try and investigate at a higher level but then like you just said then but we've also got the technology to make a perfect fake video of it and it's
Yeah,
trying to get through that nonsense because it's damaging. It's you can't at some point you're not gonna be able to help people who's been like I was about to say abused, but it's not even the right word. Who's been like constantly hounded by paranormal activity, but no one wants to help
fully
because
exposed.
yeah, because all people want to do is just care about TV. They're like, oh, well, it's not on TV, so it's not real. It's like it's the other way. It's the other way around. What you see on telly is just like so ridiculous. Like it's edit, like you can even see the cuts on like the editing cuts from where the most important bit's meant to be. You're waiting for the like something dramatic's about to happen, and you're like, oh, this actually might, and then it just cuts to just some bullshit, and you're just like, what the fuck?
You just have some guy's face in it screaming, going, "Oh, we've just seen this."
Yeah, and
Why couldn't you show me?
it's such a it's so
a bit
weird.
of a yeah. It's it makes you kind of wonder: is it a real thing? Whereas if you've actually seen it in person, you're more likely to go, "Oh shit, this is real," compared to TV.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what it comes down to, is just it has to come down to just, if like you say, if you believe it or not. And it's not like, and if people do believe it, that's fine, but then it's like most people believe the paranormal have had somewhat experience with the paranormal, and it might not even be paranormal, because we'll get into this, because there's different variations of the paranormal, which is, we're gonna get on some like strange topics and stuff, but it's very I don't know. It's very, because if I said to you, "Do you believe in the paranormal?" What would your answer be?
Oh, my initial reaction would be probably not, but I'm still kind of skeptical because, well, anything's possible. But again, it's also down to what do you believe. Me being logical, due to being autistic, like most autistic people are, I have to see it for myself to believe it.
Yeah, I think
But
that's the right thing to do, though. I think people try and take the paranormal like they do faith, like a religion, if type things. Whereas, if like as a religious person, like my religion's down to faith, where I was the same concept of what you just said. Is like with the paranormal, no one should believe it until it's pretty much slapped them in the face. Like, because
yeah,
it's easier. Like, you can't go and investigate faith, because people will say, "Oh, you don't believe in God, but you believe in like the paranormal and demons and stuff." But it's like, but I can't investigate religion. Like, where I'm meant to go with that? Where I can go and investigate. I can go into an old creepy building that's been like had thousands of deaths, and be like, oh, I can investigate this, and if something happens, something happens.
yeah. I think religion's had a bit. Do you know, lots of things have been locked away, so you can't actually do much investigation.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like a lot, obviously, because it's a lot older. A lot of it's probably been destroyed. A lot of it's locked down in the
Yeah,
Vatican as well, so you can't really go trumps into Vatican archives looking at things. But it's just funny how people compare something where it's just like it if especially with something that's so easy to do. This is why when we're in parties talking about this type of stuff, I always say, like, I always ask people, like, when we get onto the topic of like the paranormal stuff, they're like, "Oh, I don't believe it," and then I go, "Well, come on an investigation with me," and then everyone's like, "No," I'm like, "No, I'm okay with that," and I'm like, so there's an aspect of you that believes it, because now you're hesitant to come on a investigation with me in case something happens, and then they've got the wires so crossed, and it's the easiest thing to do. If you want to go find it, go out and find it. But I think people
yeah.
have
They
this.
just get mind blown if they actually do see something and they're like, no, it doesn't exist. And then bang,
Yeah,
their head just explodes. More questions and more questions.
that's it.
Or it's
People.
like, shit, get me out of here.
That's it. People have gone through this life, like being like convincing themselves that this other world doesn't exist, and then the minute it happens, it's a crazy. It's a crazy, because I was the same thing. So when I first started, I was skeptic. I still go in now skeptical, as in like, because that's my job. I'm going in logical, not going in
Yeah,
like a fanboy at a concert. Or so like I'm going in with like logic, being like, I'm here to investigate. But it's something you never get used to. So like investigating and catching like EVPs, or if using like an Ovulus and it's reading words off, and then all of a sudden, like that you can handle. Your brain can process that, even though it's a bit freaky when you first hear it. You're like, oh, I can handle it. But the thing that your brain can't ever handle is getting touched by something. that's not there. And even to this day, even though, and I presume a lot of investigators are the same way, they'll handle it a bit different now, but still getting touched by something that you can't see, it still freaks you out a little bit. A little like there's a little part of you just like motherfucker. Like I just
My
been
brain is trying to process, the thought of being touched by nothing there.
yeah
I don't even know what that'd feel like. It may have even happened and I've not noticed it. I've just not realised that's what it is.
yeah. I can't like obviously the easiest way to explain it would be it feels like someone's touching you, but it doesn't because like they're not there. So it's a completely different. Obviously the action of you feeling it touch you, obviously it's the same because obviously touch is the same all around, but it's just your brain. Your brain tricks you being like something just touched me, but you can't see it. So it makes it feel so weird. It makes it feel like you've been a
Is that where
little
you
bit.
get them goosebumps kind of thing where they touch you?
Yeah,
I,
yeah,
I,
pretty much.
I'm just trying to process all this to try and work out. Because, like, when you say, with me being autistic, I'm quite literal. So
Yeah.
when you say touch, I actually try and think physically touched.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's
this
like
is going
that.
to be
That's what it's like though. That's like
yeah.
it's such an unusual thing to go through, and I think
It's weird just hearing. I say hearing voices, but hearing it. Do you know on the what was it? Is it the what's the EVP thing?
oh yeah on a digital recorder.
Yeah, I bet that's weird as well because no one was actually there, and it's like, okay, where did that come from?
Yeah, so but your brain can process that a little bit because it's more uh, it's more verbal instead of like
It's almost like a message, video recorded message, kind of. Well, audio recorded message.
yeah, because your brain always processes like if you can hear something, you normally can see it. So
Yeah.
I can remember my my friend being in what we class as isolation. So we'll send people off into isolation. So they're in a room for like 20, 30 minutes, depending, doing their own little investigation. So there's no outside interference so there's no noise pollution or anything. And on the camera, he got he got poked in his cheek, but because he's a bit of a I'm not gonna is a bit of a overweight person. Let's say he'll be all right with me saying this. He's a bit overweight, like so he's got big cheeks, and on the camera you can see his cheek moving and move out.
No way.
And I was like, mate, that's like to me, I was like, that must feel because I've never been touched in my face or anything. I've been touched like on my legs and on my like chest and certain things, but to physically feel your cheek move in and move out, and then there's nothing there,
That's
it
just,
must be
that's just weird.
like it's so freaky. It's such a
I just got a vision of someone just going, just with one finger just poking his face,
and then yeah, turning and there's nothing there. There's literally nothing there. It's like that's that's make or
that'd probably
break.
have me run. That'd probably have me running out of there.
That's it, mate. That's
Just feeling my cheek just go straight in, and it's like, nope, nope,
make
no one's there. Right, I'm going.
make or break. That is people just either that's either they're hooked on the paranormal or they never stepping foot in
But
that
knowing
type
me,
of
I'll
shit.
probably run off, but want to go back and see if it'd happen again.
But yeah, yeah,
Because again, it's like, do you know, scientists, they tend to do tests over, like, I'll just say 3 tests, just because one can work fine, one might not happen, so then you do the third one just to make sure, kind of thing.
yep.
I'd be like, did that really just happen? Go on, let's do it again.
Again, that's what you have to do though. That's what investigations are about. That's why I don't like, and I'm not calling everyone out, but like people who do it for like viewership and other types of stuff. Uh, they've always got these like shaky cameras. They've always got these weird angles where it looks like it's set up.
Yeah.
They just run. The first thing they see and they just run away, and you're like, it's not even like that shouldn't be it. It's like, but they say they're like if you go on a YouTube channel of someone who's done investigations and stuff, and there'll be loads of them, but then you watch them, and it's like so. They're like people obviously because it's influence as well. So loads of people presume that's how it goes, and it just doesn't. It's never
Yeah.
that 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 way, because it's. And I spoke about this on my YouTube video about being like, people are automatically going in thinking like loads of stuff's about to happen, like they're about to get slapped and chucked across a room and something, and it's just not that case. I've done hundreds of investigations where I might hear a few bangs and a few like EVPs. That's it. I have
Yeah.
like a 10-hour investigation. So all these people who've got like, oh, demons spotted in, like, no, like, how gullible can people be watching that,
Just
understanding it's a demon? Like, no.
expecting to be thrown across a room. What is it? Some Herculean kind of spirit?
Just, yeah, some crazy, like, it, I think, especially with the paranormal now, it's got so misstrued on how it's meant to be, like, how it functions and stuff. I think because now it's become, because it is a popular thing. Like, no paranormal show does rubbish. They're all so popular,
Yeah.
and but they're so not the way they're meant to be. Like there's no logic in it. Because especially, so I have an issue with like Ouija boards, like people using them incorrectly, and
Never used one.
yeah, and don't if you don't know what you're doing, don't bother, because
No,
crazy stuff
don't
happens.
plan on it.
Like, but people automatically think that they need like 7 fucking people with the fingers on the planchette to feed it energy so it can move, but that's not the case. If I'm sorry, like, put logic to it. If a spirit can slam a door, right? I think he can move a bit of wood, like a bit of 40, bit of planchette on a board without anybody's fingers on it, like
Yeah,
nobody's fingers on it at all. Like, but people are so engrossed in this.
but yeah, they also go off what they see on films. If they've used it, if they've seen it in films and things like that, and it just they, they just try and mirror it with no knowledge whatsoever.
No, yeah, and it's
Because I think that's probably what I would do if I was to. Oh, I've seen it on a film. I'm assuming this is how it's done. Because of my somewhat naivety to the whole kind of subject, the whole
yeah, but
Ouija board.
that's like where it becomes like this. So this is where it becomes dangerous to do, like, because am I in like, because you have to think like, out of everyone, because it's an unknown subject, it'll always be an unknown subject. Like, is anybody really in the authority about it? Can anybody be that authority figure about the unknown? Not really, but it just comes through experiences. So my experiences with witchcraft, demonology, Satanism, being in a cult, being in a coven, doing ghost hunts, understanding sigil, spell work, like Aramaic, Latin. Like, I can safely say that messing with the unknown is not a good idea. Like, not
Yeah.
knowing what you're doing, there will like there's repercussions to certain things you do, and it's not
Well, it's that simple science thing. Every time there's an action, there's an opposite reaction.
exactly. But you have control of that action, but you've got no control of the reaction. That's out of your hands. The
Yeah.
minute you do that, you're like you're just waiting for shit to hit the fan. To be honest with you, like, it's such a weird thing to watch people go into certain things and like and change it, like, because I spoke about this on a YouTube video. Like, I lost a friend to an Ouija board. He like jumped off a building
Oh shit!
for it because he thought he was getting chased by something. So he didn't like his goal wasn't to jump off the building. It was too busy looking. So, like old wood mills. They've got these.
Yeah.
Got the big doors where the logs get pulled up and in to get cut. Well,
Yeah.
obviously, because both of us live in the middle of fucking nowhere, we've got them types of things lurking around, and he was. Yeah, he was because it had cameras on because it was getting refurbished and stuff. He was caught on camera running through the building and then up to the next floor, and I think he fell he fell a good height to die on impact. But yeah, he was too busy looking behind him like something was so it looked to the police and everything. It looked like someone was chasing him, like the way he was acting. And he wasn't paying attention. He just kept running because he was panicking, and then just went straight out the double doors, and then obviously fell to his death sadly. But then watching the CCTV, nothing's chasing him. There's nothing there. There's no one in the vicinity. For miles, like there was nothing. And then
that must have been scary for him.
Yeah, because I knew what was happening. Well, I didn't know what was happening because obviously we were both new to it then. There was a group of us that did it, but it all stemmed from doing a Ouija board wrong. It all stemmed from doing this thing wrong, and then I saw his attitude and his demeanor change over the next few days after we did it, and then yeah, it went bad for everyone. None of us, even in the video, one of us. So obviously, sadly, he died. My other friend's in a wheelchair. Like, she's got mad health problems. She went from being perfectly healthy to then not being able to walk and stuff. And then obviously, then there's me, and it affected me it affected me mentally. So I was like done for a long time. At that point, that was when I'd had suicide problems. So it was so it affected us all in a way, and I just think this generation, people just love messing around with it, and it's such a dangerous thing to do.
It's mind bending. People thinking that everything's going to be fine afterwards, messing with the unknown. The unknown scares me shitless. It really does.
That's for everything as well. Tomorrow is the unknown. No one has a clue what's happening tomorrow, and that's still a bit freaky. But people just
from my past experience with health wise and things like that, I take each day as it comes, and that's it. I don't plan too far ahead.
No, that's what you should do. Plan for the now and not the future, because it's shit. I was fine one day, woke up next day, I had a heart attack. I'm freaking young. I'm 28 now, but I was 26 when that happened. So
Jesus.
So it's such a...
Bloody hell, you're just spilling off the list of stuff that you've been through. I'm just your average Joe that's stuck at home.
Yeah, but I've lived my life. I've lived it. I like that saying. If someone says, "Oh, if you were to die today, would you be happy with what you've done?" Yes, I've lived a fulfilling life for that, especially through everything to do with the paranormal. But it's so we'll talk about this categorized thing, because people think the paranormal's obviously is one aspect of everything, but there's so many categories to it where it's so
yeah, it's just full of different things, isn't it? It's not just any one thing.
Yeah, and other things lead to other scenarios. So especially because I wanted to talk about shadow people with someone else. I've got obviously people I know who's been through a lot of shadow people experiences. Obviously, but that's their story to tell. I'm not gonna tell their story. I might use little bits of it just for examples and stuff, because it's not really a big thing that really happens a lot. But so the phenomenon shadow people, what if I was to say to you shadow people, would you automatically go to paranormal?
Shadow people, it's a bit of a weird one, because I don't know if I've actually seen one myself or not.
Not knowing anything. Imagine clear your mind. Imagine not imagine not doing any research on it. If someone said shadow people to you, where
Film.
would you categorize it as like not real and like you see?
Oh yeah, I think it's like a far-fetched kind of. They must have seen it in some sort of film kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Because my brain struggles to. Yeah, I get shadows and things, but you see cartoons and things where the shadow moves. Peter Pan, for instance, you see it on there. Do you know where shadow separates?
Shadow separation.
And it's yeah, and to me, it's just somewhat similar to that. So it just seems film or movie based,
Yeah.
not something you'd actually expect to see in real life.
But this is the argument of real life because they first originated because there's two. So you'll see shadow people on paranormal investigations. So you'll see them as like you'll see shadows move around, but then that side's manageable. They're not very nice, but it's manageable. But then you've got this whole side of sleep paralysis,
I've had that one. That's not fun.
right? And that's where shadow people first originated from, like the whole phenomenon as it is, because people would go through sleep paralysis and then start to see freaky stuff, like
I've had it once. Jesus, that was quite a night.
did you see
Never had it
anything though?
since. It looked like there was a shadow just over the top of me. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Exactly. So
It's like, who the hell are you?
so it's such a it's so hard to explain because it's like because medically it's because your brain releases a chemical so you don't act out your dream. It makes you paralyzed, like it makes your body more like paralytic, so you're not fucking trying to jump out your window when you're dreaming or something. Like, so medically, it'd be like people would say, "Oh, it's because you've woken up and your brain's catching up. Like you've woken up before your brain's processed it, so now you're just paralyzed and you're seeing stuff."
Yeah.
Right, which is fine from a medical standpoint, right? But then every person I've come across who's gone through sleep paralysis, whether they're logical, illogical, crazy, not crazy, whatever title you want to put on it, have all had experiences with multiple shadow people, right? And some have some have been like, I'm going to use the word abducted because obviously it's the right word to use. Some have been abducted, have never been seen again. Like, so they're just in the bedroom and then they're not. Some people get tormented by them. Some people see different types of them. Some people see multiple ones. Some people have somewhat sexual encounters with them. There's a whole variety of them. And for people who are interested in it and like especially for me because it's paranormal and it's to do with like psychology and stuff with the brain, so I'm more fascinated about it. It's a to me you are technically, are you still in a dream state? Because if that's the case, if you're waking up before your brain is, so you're technically still in a dream state, what are the chances, and is it coincidence that everybody's dreaming about the same thing?
Yeah, it just comes up. Yeah, everyone seems to describe the same or similar kind of things. So, ha, yep,
You
yeah.
can't, you can't, you can't, you can't explain it. It's ridiculous.
No,
It's
there's no real explanation.
it's
I just know it's shit scary.
yeah, because you obviously just even if you didn't see anything, just the physical sensation of not being able to move while you're awake is bad enough. Add creepy things pulling you out of the bed.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure I'm too heavy to be pulled out of bed.
Oh, you're not. Trust me. Yeah, that's not like. But like, there's people who've been like who's like sunk through the floor. There's people who have been like in their mind they think that there's somewhere else in the house and then they get shot back into the body. So
Like astral projection that you see on a film again,
yes.
like a Doctor Strange kind of thing.
So well, sometimes we'll get into astral projection soon because like, but there's this whole like shadow and they're not good. People who think they're there for good because people will go, "Oh, they're the paranormal," but then I've spoken to some like mediums who I know are actual mediums and not trying to scam people. Uh, will say that they're more related to like alien life, like fourth dimensional. So it's a separate entity. So it's like just that alone's hard enough to try and describe to someone, being like, well, is it ghosts? And it's like, well, if it can make you fall through the floor, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's a bit more.
I'm just gonna have to shoot off because someone's at the door.
Yeah,
Wasn't expecting
mate,
anyone to turn up.
bro, I'll carry this podcast on and carry on.
Yeah, no
Go,
worries. I'll
go,
be back
go.
in a second.
Yeah. So it's that why he goes and like figures that out. So it's very like dimension based. I do believe. So there's a lot of it's kind of unexplainable. No one really wants to go into too much detail. Like the paranormal, like ghosts and everything, is such a big thing. Like everyone wants to talk about it. Everyone wants to do this. Everyone wants to know it. But then you start getting into like specific sections of it, and like so hard to figure out if people wanted. Like no one wants to talk to you, and it's understandable. Someone who's gone through, like seeing shadow people from a young age to, let's say early adulthood, or even to where they are now. It's kind of silly that no one's willing to help them, and that like now they've been labelled, so they've gone through this progression, so they're so shut off because they don't understand it. They've just been dealing with it because at some point you just have to, like your mind is just gonna accept it that it's happening, and you're just gonna like kind of like give up on even trying to fight it and stuff. So it's that's bad enough as itself, but trying to get answers from one side to the other is kind of freaking mad, and it just doesn't work. Like people just don't want to do it.
I'm back.
So it's like a fucking how can I put it? It's like a I don't know. It's such hard to like. I've been asked questions about this like, a lot, right? And it's such hard. So like, because even to ask someone who has no idea. So if I was to ask you like what would a shadow person be? You like even you can't explain it. I can't explain it. I can't even go research it because these people who have experienced it don't want to talk about it, and it's such a weird thing to see, especially the moment you say it might be linked to alien life. Then it's like, wow, that's like a bit freaking weird. Because do you believe in aliens?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No. Well, I say I don't, but it's one of these things again. If we're on a planet like this, there must be something somewhere else because space is just it seems to go on forever.
Well, it's infinite, yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. So there must be something out there, but it's one of these things. I've got to see it to believe it again.
yeah, and it's kind of what I'm gonna let's ask you this. So with your when you had sleep paralysis at one time, did you think you were dreaming or did it feel real?
No, I was definitely awake.
Oh, you did see. So
I was definitely awake. The thing was at the bottom of my bed, and it was too tall to be my mum because I live with my mum because I'm a carer.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was definitely not the dog either. So
Well, I'd be a bit worried if your dog was that big. I just
yeah, exactly.
you
It's like a 6 foot odd figure, so it was taller than me. The bottom of my bed.
So what because a lot of people what did it make you did it like did it make you feel fear because a lot of people associate it with like fearful the feeling of like being uneasy.
Well, yeah, there was that, but the fact that I couldn't move.
Yeah.
I hate being pinned down. So the fact that my eyes were open, it seemed like I was processing things and can't move. It's almost as if someone's pinning me down. In my mind, it's like my limbs were moving, but they literally weren't moving at all.
Yeah.
It's like these horror stories you hear where people have been, put to sleep on surgical table.
Yeah.
And they can feel and hear everything going off. It's just like that. Well, I say it's just like that. I've never experienced that, but that's imagine what it. That's what I'd imagine it'd feel like.
yeah. So even that there is kind of like interesting because there's a lot of people like. So pretty much everyone has the same experience with it, but they can't tell anybody. Like it's not with a ghost. Like if you see a ghost or something, you go and tell someone I saw a ghost. They're either they're gonna joke about it or they're gonna try and take you a bit serious. But then if you go, oh, I saw a freaky shadow person and I couldn't move while I was sleeping, I was like, people are just gonna be like, you're crazy, you're absolute bonkers, and
Yeah.
it's such a difficult thing to get across to people that it's not a it's kind of serious. Like I take it more serious than the paranormal just because of its connection to the medical state it's putting you. Because then you have to think if we break it down into like sections, like is it your body that's making you go sleep paralysis, or is it the shadow people that are making you go into sleep paralysis, that are making your body do it? It's such a
I would assume it was my body, but I don't know because I don't really know the ins and outs of shadow people
well, they're
and what's possible and what's not possible.
it's yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I don't know enough of it. Like I've spoken to a lot of people about it, but a lot of them are closed off and quite uh, not wanting to talk. Especially some parents that who have lost their children to it, which is kind of
Yeah.
weird. They're obviously they're not going to want to talk about it. They're very closed off about it. But it's I can remember I can remember doing a Gonsfeld experiment.
What?
Yeah, so you get headphones like noise cancelling headphones, and you can either pump white noise into it, right, so into your ears, and
Yeah.
then the most common thing is to put ping pong balls over your eyes, sellotape them over your eyes, right, so now your vision's gone, and then forcefully blast like red light into your eyes, so
Oh wow.
it's like a sense deprivation, but it makes you more aware of things of being like so we had a stupid concept and I regret doing it. It's one of the things I regret like doing on it because not we use it for ghosts and stuff like and just communicating with like the dead and certain things because you see like certain shadows walking past because your eyes obviously are still open but you just the few like you can just see it through ping pong balls and then you might hear
Yeah.
voices through the white noise, or even if you're not playing white noise, if you're just using noise cancelling, you still might hear like voices and stuff. But then we had a stupid idea to see if we could, because one of our friends had like a weird like alien encounter with it. Because we weren't in a building, so
Okay.
it was outside of an old farmhouse, and it was communicating through that connected to one of the female investigators. Not no, it wasn't even
Yeah.
so another male investigator, and then he would obviously what he was hearing. One of them would ask questions, and then the other dude would do it, and then he kind of like he didn't know what he was talking to, and then so because he was like it's intelligent, but it doesn't look like a human shape, and at that point it could be anything. Like it could be fucking a shadow person, it could be demonic, it could be a ghost, it could be what. So then we had a bright idea to go after it had happened and we'd figured out that we were like, oh, you know what? Can we use it to try and get abducted by aliens? So we went from one side to
That's just crazy thinking.
to a whole new world of like certain things because it was like if that's the case because he thought it like his initial thought was like it was alien. So I was like,
Right.
oh, we'll try and see if we can get abducted. And for like 2 days, we were sat doing this silly freaking. It's not a silly Gonsfelder swear, but we looked stupid. trying to get abducted by aliens, and then like when nothing occurred much more other than some weird encounters, like some funny feelings. Uh, Radios on the car would just start playing and turning off, playing and turning off. So a lot of electrical thing, like not like electrical as in like gear equipment, just like it was just the cars. And then I had the stupid idea because at this point I'm like, fuck it, let's just change it up a bit. I was like, so if that's the case, if we can go from ghost to alien, why can't I use it to try and figure out about shadow people? I still haven't done it yet because it's trying to find someone who's willing to participate in that is kind of
scared shitless at the same time.
Yeah, because it's going to induce the same effects that they'll see on a daily basis. So it's very difficult. But in theory, it should work if you can use the person who's going through it as a conduit. You should be able to get some sort of answers towards shadow people, but I never do anything. Obviously, I did in the past, but obviously now I've learned everything about it. Like I never do anything that I'm not 100% sure is like safe. Well, nothing's 100% safe, but certainty that no one else is going to come in harm.
Yeah, you'll do it as safe as possible.
Yeah, so it's such a yeah. It's I don't know. It's weird. Like shadow people is such a weird concept because it's like it's same with like. It's like, do you believe in like demons and stuff?
No, I can't say I do.
No, you can't see. So,
but again, it's the same answer as before. I've got to see it to believe it.
See it to believe it, and they're more obviously they're rarer. They're not everywhere. You see a lot of churches be like exercising demons every like 40 of them a day, and you just think you're just chatting shit, go away. Like, you're not even like, you can't put your hand
on. Not what gargoyles were meant to do, to keep the...
Yeah, that's why they're on churches, yeah. That's why you see them on churches and stuff, yeah.
Because I just... On main churches, you just see them around, don't you?
See gargoyles, yeah, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's to keep bad things away, but it's... Even that's been misstrued so much to be like, from TV to film... is like everyone thinks like a demonic possession is like The Exorcist, like, and obviously there's some truth to it, like the rite of exorcism and some other objects, but like it's a film, it's dramatized, it's like it's not like to be like that was like worse, and obviously they've made more since then, so like obviously if the most like known one other than the original Exorcist, because obviously that was a big hit, would be obviously the Exorcism of Emily Rose, but that's based off of the Exorcism of Annalise, so what the church did. Obviously they killed her,
right?
So they killed her of malnourishment. Well, that's what supposedly happened, like she died from malnourishment and dehydration and stuff, but then the church will argue that we didn't kill her, the demon did, because she was possessed. So
yeah,
like there's some actions to it, but they're always like the worst. You never see like an okay one, and I've been a part of one, so I know.
All right.
Not obviously not me. I wasn't getting the exorcism done, but I've been a part of one.
Yeah.
And like most films get it wrong. It's a lot more second guessing yourself other than other people. So I'll explain it how it occurred through the work that I do. So I was there on a set basis for just doing this certain thing. So to make sure everyone was okay, no one was absolute bonkers or anything. So that's what I was there for. And then I left thinking I was crazy. That's what it does to you.
No way.
So it left. Even to this day, even to this day, every time I go in a bathroom, I second guess opening the door to a bathroom, because I was so I was sitting in the living room, and there's a frosted glass door, because it's quite an old, and it's quite obviously because we're both English, obviously old English houses are very like you could tell they're old. They've got like old style, like fucking 70s. Looks like your grandma's house every time you go. That's what it looks like. That's what you can like imagine it.
Frosted glass
Yeah,
for the room windows and
yeah.
things like that.
So there was a door with a frosted glass pane of like obviously glass in it, and I was sat there talking to the mother of this girl, and something just like walked past once, and I'm obviously because I'm logical and I'm not absolute like idiotic sometimes. But I was just like, oh, it's probably like it's either one of the priests or father or friend because there was friend there. I was
Yeah.
like, one of them was walking past. I was like, probably gonna go and get something because the kitchen was out there to the left. So if you went out the door and turned left, there's the kitchen. But if you went out there, turn left, and then the first door on your right, it was the bathroom. So I was like, it's either kitchen or bathroom. So I walked past. And then it looked normal because then they walked past like 5 minutes later back, and I was like, oh, they're probably just going to get something. And then like 20 seconds later, walks past, and I was like, nothing triggered me. I was just like, all right, it's just thing. And then it like
It
every
sounds like he's pacing up and down and things.
yeah every two. Then it changed from like being normal, what a normal person would perceive to be a normal person walking past, to then every 5 seconds it'd walk past, and it just looked like this past the
What the
door.
hell?
And I was just like, what the hell's happening? So I opened the door, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So I'm just like, hey, I was expecting some free. Because at this point, I was well uh, advised into what paranormal was. Like I was logical about it. I had information on it and stuff. So I was like, oh, this. I was expecting weird stuff to happen. I was like, oh, weird. And then as I was just about to shut the door, I could hear like running water. I didn't know if it was coming from the kitchen. I saw steam coming out of the bottom of the door, bathroom door. So I was like, what? Like, no one should be in the bathroom taking a shower. Everyone's upstairs. I can hear everyone upstairs. I can literally hear them upstairs, and I'm talking to the mum, and I like knock on the door. Nothing happens. I open it, and the girl who's supposed to be upstairs in bed. Obviously, she's not like this whole restraint thing is only for like the worst on worst cases, but that's just to keep them safe and everyone else. So she wasn't restrained. She was normal in bed. I was like, she's meant to be in bed. Now it's stood in front of me in a shower, and I was like,
What, as if nothing ever happened?
happened,
He was
yeah,
taking a general shower.
yeah, and oh, you're gonna have to give me 2 seconds, honestly, freaking people.
Sounds freaky as hell. Oh, imagine that though. Just she was meant to be in bed, and next thing you know, she's having a shower
Yeah,
just
right.
down hallway.
But so I was like, at this point, I'm fully. I'd 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 been through a lot of stuff in my life, so I understood behavior of people. I've done a bit of profile and stuff, so I understood. And it was like very enticing. So it turned like not sexual, but she did like a motion with the hands for me to come in the bathroom, and I was like, it's not happening. Like it's not like no, like what the fuck. And then a mum, like I felt like this is gonna sound so bonkers, but a mum was behind me, and I felt a breath on my like on my back, and she like, and then that's when I turned around to be like, fucking hell, who's behind me? And it's a mum, and her mum was like, who you talking to? And then I looked, and there was nothing. There was nothing there. The shower's not even on.
Oh way.
There's no steam in the room. The girl's still upstairs, and at that point, I was like,
How the hell?
we're in for a hell of a night on this, which it was. So I left that day. I left with one scar, and then me thinking I was absolute bonkers. So
I'm not surprised if shit like that happened. God, I think I'd be thinking I was bonkers. Just
it's yeah, it's It's kind of
That's just mind bending. Just thinking about what you've just said.
yeah, it's very hmm, I don't know how to explain it even more because it's obviously I can't give too much information away because it's obviously it's like a private
Yeah,
encounter thing. But it was such a unusual way of doing stuff because especially coming from the paranormal side. Obviously, I did a lot when I'd done witchcraft. I went into demonology, so I'd done a lot of demonology, so I knew what I was dealing with. But even that was just like it was crazy. It was such a surreal experience.
well, when you say demons, I think of do you know shadow hunters?
All right,
Kind
the
of
TV show.
demons. Yeah, yeah.
No, like
So it's trying to work out what would you, what would a demon look like if it had, or is it just personal encounter kind of
it wouldn't look like anything.
changes?
So it's that's quite an interesting question because it wouldn't because they've never walked the face of the earth. Like they're not human form, so that's why they try and
Yeah,
possess people. I wouldn't really know what they actually look like in real life because even when they're inside of somebody, like possession, they're still like the face might change a bit, their eyes might change a different color, their demeanor will change, but you won't ever see their true form. So
yeah. That to me is a bit more mind bending than the shadow people.
yeah,
I think that's probably because I've had an encounter. I say an encounter with the shadow person people, but the demons just no. That's a bit more difficult to get my head around.
yeah. It's I think it's the most difficult part of everything. You know, if you take like the whole paranormal side of it, and like because it's kind of the word you don't get any worse. That you've hit the limit there. Like
Yeah.
that. Like some people will go into and so I'm not gonna call them out by name, but there's a few people who probably all over the world who will go into a building or go into a family home and be like they've got their own psychic or medium, and then all of a sudden the medium's like, oh, there's a demon presence here. It's like, is there not? Is seriously? Is there? What's that demon? What's it doing? Like just chilling out in a chair? Like what? What's this like?
Start watching Netflix.
Like they don't stay. They're not just gonna stay there forever. It's not like their goal's not to do that. The goal's to possess people, and it's like it's such an annoying thing, especially like in you see it a lot in I want to call out New Orleans for this on French Quarter when you go. There's a lot of like people who are like palm readers or supposedly real witches, and they're exactly the same. It's like they say some like crazy just stuff just to get you involved to open your eyes to some unnecessary shite, and it's it's such a dumb thing to say.
But it's how can you tell the genuine kind of folk to the actual charlatans?
Well, that's
Like
it.
I've got no experience whatsoever, whereas you've got, your knowledge and understanding of this kind of stuff. I could go to New Orleans or wherever, and that's it. I just come out bankrupt.
you just it's just knowing one you'll know a real witch from a fake one. I think everyone deep down will understand, like just even sitting across from them. But it's the questions they ask, like 'cause obviously all of them are like good manipulators because they want to. We'll use a medium. We'll use like people who think they're mediums just to gain wealth. We'll
Yeah,
use this for an example. We'll go like when they do these big shows and showings and stuff where loads of people come and they'll be like, oh, who's here's lost someone they want to speak to. So even that first question, so Nari knows that someone's died. So now that's his starting point, and then
yeah,
it'll point to someone and she'll be like, oh yeah, I lost my father. So now you've just told him who's died. So now he's got pretty much every bit of information he needs to just be like, well, your father's here, and it's just it's like certain questions, but people are so engrossed in it that they just don't understand that they just give this information away. It's like me when I'm profiling someone. Like I can do it without asking them questions, but if I was to ask you questions and you're just gonna give me
I
the
would
answers
trip
I
up.
need, yeah, you're just gonna give me the answers I need, and then shit would But then what like I'm obviously I'm not gonna use it for self gain, and it's to. But the paranormal side of it's okay. Like it's still not okay for them to do, but it's less. But then for them to be like I know a family who had a medium come in and the medium falsified, like falsely gave him information that like the son had a demon in him. It was ridiculous. It was such a stupid fucking thing.
What? Was it just to get money out of them?
Yeah, it was just because it was a private thing. So yeah, it was just for him to get money out of it, and they couldn't obviously explain why the son was being like it's okay for me to say because I know him and they'll be fine with it because this is what I like because this is what they thought. It's just like, no, it's okay. You just like she's told like there's a demon in you, and it's like no, your son's just a dickhead. like it's simple. Like he's just being a dick. That's it. Like stop going for all these like unusual answers and why people do what they do, and it's such a weird. Would you go on a ghost hunt? Let's transition into something like would you
Ooh,
would that
ghost hunt.
yeah would that like would you be interested in doing something like that?
Yeah, but for some reason my nerves get the best of me at times. Do you know, going new places and things? Due to being autistic, my comfort zone is a certain kind of thing. So going in a ghost hunt would probably drive my nerves straight up.
Straight up, which is
Yeah,
understandable. Which is
but then you've got the likes of the unknown on top of that as well.
yeah
So obviously, you know you're going in for a ghost hunt, but you don't know what's going to happen, and it's just that's it. Stress levels for me just go boom straight through the roof.
yeah. But
But I think once I'm there and settled down, I'll probably be all right. But yeah, the answer is definitely yeah. I'd want to give it a go,
give it a go. Yeah.
even if it's just once for the experience, as long as it's done properly.
Yeah, it's definitely done properly. This is why I don't do like if any like people who are listening now or who are gonna watch this, even you, if it like don't like be wary going to these paid ones where you have to pay to go because they're so fucking far fetched. It's unbelievable. It's such a thing like a crappy thing. That's why we obviously we don't offer people now. Obviously, I offer close friends and people who I know to come on investigations with us, but I think people like the comfort of like going to these paid ones because they're very like nah, they're just they're not very good. Like, and you know they're not very good when you bring more equipment than they've got. Like, because that's what happened to me and my sister. We went and I brought more equipment with me than all of the paranormal team put together, and I was just like, this is just stupid. It's such a, and then you're gonna tell me I can't film, like what, like we're investigating the paranormal. I need to film. It's one tool the paranormal fucking field you need constantly is filming, so you can prove. And you're telling me I can't fucking film.
That's just stupid. I'd think you go, yes, everybody film, just to show that it's real. But then again, if they're trying to pull wool over your eyes, they're not going to want you to do it, are they?
Yeah, most of them will pull like especially will, like try and do it. I just think it's because it's business into end of the day, but
Yeah.
it's something. It's something that. It's something that plus right. It's something that no one ever gets right, like in film, TV, even if we're like obviously because we're both gamers and stuff. Like even in like transitioning into video games, it's like you know what I'd like to see once in a fucking while is that if you're making a game about demonic stuff or witchcraft or certain things, that you actually use witchcraft, demonology, and certain things, not just like don't like I get you want to make your own symbols and stuff, but like for someone who's come from like let's let's dive into witchcraft for a bit. Like, come from
Ooh,
like
this one's gonna
witchcraft
be interesting.
standpoint. It's like I hate to see things that are incorrect. I'm like, no, like you like that's not what happens because everybody who knows, like you change, you like especially if you're using like sigils or seals, you change the spell work, you change the spell, and these like video games people and TV people are like, oh well, there's this pentagram on the floor, right, and you think right, but then they've drew a circle around the pentagram, and the minute you draw a circle around the pentagram, it becomes a pentacle. So it's not a pentagram; it's something completely different, and it's such an annoying thing to
Oh,
witness.
so they've both got separate, different meanings then.
Yeah, so so in it's like satanic stuff. So you'd use an upside down pentagram. So there's not one point at the top. There's 2 points because that'll be each point would be the horns of the devil, like a
Yeah.
goat horns, like you see it on some things, especially when you're doing satanic type stuff. Just the normal pentagram that you see, right? And people are like, "Oh, you're a devil worshipper." It's for protection in witchcraft, so it's a protection
Right.
thing, right? So it's got nothing bad against it. But yeah, the minute you draw a circle around it, so if you even had a chain, but you're like, oh, I just don't want a pentagram. I'll put a circle around it so it looks like symmetrical. It's not a pentagram, it's a pentacle now. So it changes whatever aspect you think it is. And I think that's what irritates me when video games do it because they're like, oh, we're going to use this spell. And you're like, oh, they're getting it right. And then they do something. I'm like, that's not even, like, you've changed it. It's not even what it's meant to be now. It's totally different. It's like you're trying to summon
Yeah.
a frog with 7 legs. It's not happening. It's not happening. It's just, it's
Oh god.
it's such a and plus it's so hard because it's so diverse. I don't think when people make these games, whoever's doing like the lore behind it, especially. Even I've seen it even in paranormal investigations. I've seen it there in that side of it being like people coming in who think like they know a bit about witchcraft and stuff and not understanding that it's huge. There's that many. There's so many pantheons. There's everything like voodoo, Wiccan, like necromancy. There's a whole aspect of like witchcraft in general. That's just it's too. Just people just stop doing it. It's too complicated for you to like mess up and type of stuff. So it's like it's very weird. It's a very weird subject, witchcraft, when it comes to it.
Well, it seems really complex because there's so many different avenues to kind of go down. It's like, where would you start even if you wanted to become a witch or part of witchcraft? Because from what I've heard, don't you get passed down books? I've forgotten the name of them. What are they called?
Grimoire.
That's the one. Yeah, you get passed down them in families. You can't just go to your average bookstore and go buy one.
No. So they're passed down family to family. So you are correct on that. So like you're not just going to be able to go on the internet and find a spell. That's not happening. It's not happening. It's just not like. I'm sorry, it's not like you might be able to find like a cleansing spell or something to cleanse an object or something, but to find real witchcraft, you need like real books on it. Then they're expensive. They're either passed down or they're fucking expensive. Yeah. Or you'll come across people who are writing. I've got one on my shelf. So.
Because like I've tried looking into this witchcraft stuff and went down to local Waterstones and just thought, yeah, this ain't gonna work, is it, from here?
No, so
it might give me a little bit of information into previous, bits of witchcraft history and things like that, but it's not gonna get me anywhere near where.
No, it's very like you'll come across books like this.
Yeah.
So these are like they've got spells in and stuff. They've got like how to, but they're not fully complete because of. Well, especially this one because it's to do with like necromancy and dead. But you meant to like use like schools and stuff for shit. So you'll probably just get arrested if like someone caught you trying to do that. But yeah, it's such a weird topic to be like, oh, like people like I'm a witch, and it's like, well, are you? It's like, are you really like I've studied witchcraft. I'm not a witch. I'm not. I don't practice. Like I do spells and stuff, but so I'm a little practicing, but I'm not. Like it's not my lifestyle, so I don't even think you'd class
Yeah.
me as a witch. I just know a lot about it because I was interested. I knew the right people. I've seen grimoires. I've sold grimoires. I've had grimoires. Like I've got a few in storage, and it's like I don't know. It's such an unusual topic because I think everyone's like, if I was to ask you what would your definition of a witch be and look like, what would you say?
Oh, I'm gonna go to pop culture kind of stuff, films and TV. Sabrina the Teenage Witch,
Yeah. So
kind of thing.
so
But
like
again, it's still also you've got oh, what is it? Like, like you got the room kind of things off again, shadow hunters
yeah
and doing stuff like this. But then it's like, where do you start to research it? Say you want to get into it seriously, or just even read up on it. There's only so much information you can actually find online,
yeah
and you've got to make sure you're looking in the right place. Where is the right place?
yeah. And
Because people have so many opinions, and it's easily accessed now. It's trying to dig out all the crap.
it's very yeah. There's a difference between like studying it, like learning it, and then like practicing. I think to fully understand witchcraft, you got to do both. Like like because the knowledge, like having knowledge of it's fine. Like shit, like having knowledge of like a freaking a giraffe's fine, but until you come face to face with it, you're never really gonna know, are you? So that's what I always say when it comes to like people who want to study witchcraft who ask me, I'm like, if you're gonna learn it, then practice it while you're learning, because it'll make the
Right.
transition of understanding it a lot easier. Because then you can start to change it yourself. You can start to make your own spells. You figure out what like because you can read a book about binding agents which bind spells together, but then until you start using them, you never know which one's the best one for your use. So it's kind of
Do they do they actually use cauldrons?
probably not. No, maybe back in the
Right.
day. Maybe back in the day because it was kind of so back in so like especially like Pendle Hill, like the witches at Pendle Hill, they were quite
Yeah.
they were quite like a few of them were quite disturbed. So they had cauldrons and stuff, but they used to chop like fingers off people and like chuck them in and stuff. So there's always an aspect of like what you'd see witches to be like the pointy hats and stuff was just like
I say you've got the same things, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the witch off there. It either goes from Sabrina the Teenage Witch or to an old hag
yeah
with warts on her
with
face and a
warts.
big nose.
But I think
Yeah.
that comes from like the warts and stuff come from like fairy tales. I think it's what everyone was perceived to be because even like the witch trials where obviously everyone knows obviously Salem's witch trials
Yeah.
when they killed all the witches and stuff like they'd automatically presume like witchcraft was to do with like the devil. That's why they got killed and stuff. Like because they didn't
Yeah.
understand it. If it I don't think if it didn't have ties to the devil, I don't think they would have. I don't think they'd have died. It's just everyone panicked so much about.
There's a
So
lack of understanding from other people as well.
yeah, big lack of understanding, and then
The unknown.
yes, so it's because it's easier then because obviously even now in this society, if someone falls ill of a disease, but you know there's a witch or someone who's practicing witchcraft in your village, you're just going to automatically go to them because they're doing some freaky shit anyway, and that's
Yeah,
like
you always blame the weird person, don't you?
yeah. What you guys? We're just doing a podcast. Sorry, I'm just reading chat.
All right. Oh, yeah.
uh, yeah, so people just blame everything, and I think that's what irritates me about like if we just get like if we just use the whole of like even me, if I take my shirt off in some situations, like I've got weird tattoos. I've not got normal tattoos at all. So even I get like pointed at and being like, "Oh, you're into like devil stuff," and it's like, no, like it's not.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's not like people love to just like not understand stuff and blame people for it, and it's just pack it in. It's not fucking
Yeah.
healthy, especially in something you can't explain, like because you're gonna start labeling people crazy, especially in the paranormal stuff. It happens a lot. People get labeled crazy because they've seen a ghost and stuff, and it's just like it's just damaging. It comes to a point where it's not even healthy.
And it's not just the paranormal world that can get labelled that either.
No.
It's just people that are different gets labelled that.
Yep.
And well, it just wrecks people's self-esteem. That's for sure.
Exactly. So that so like as that if we take that into like me doing ghost hunting and stuff, it makes my job 10 times harder because people I'll go to ask people questions and they won't want to interview me because they just think because now we've been labeled like pretty much everyone's been labeled like fakes because of the internet and the 21st century and shit. Yep. That's what I get. Oh, you're not gonna help me. You're just gonna like use me on cat, and it's not what I do. But you can't change that. You can't technically open that person up anymore, and it's like so. So I've definitely had a few. Like I'm glad I'm so happy I'm on a break now, because of COVID and everything. I'm so happy that I don't have to deal with it because people had sent me like clips and stuff constantly being like, is this real, 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 and they're just pulling it from like silly things, and I'm just like, no. Like if in the moment I say, because I'll always say that out of the like there's always 10% of the clips that you see are real and authentic and 90% aren't, but that 10% is so drenched in the 90% of just bullshit that you can't sift through 90% of videos that are online to find these real ones because because you miss it because your brain's watching them. If you get them all in front of you, which I've done, I've just been like fake, and because I've gone through like 3,000 videos of fake shit and I come to the real one, I'm just like fake past it because I'm just like, how
you're in that mindset already of it just being fake.
So like, how can that be like?
Just you saying fake. It just reminds me of being back in playground, going through these Pokemon cards. You used to have guys fake.
fake, yeah. Just like,
but yeah,
it's such a. For me, like I'd advise no one getting into a profession at the minute. Just like unless it's for self, like reasons and wanting to learn, then that's fine. But if you're wanting to try and help people, just don't bother. They're like, not because it's not a bad thing, it's because there's just too much. Like there's too much damage been done already. Right? It needs to even out a little bit to where it's like people actually get some help and certain things from it. But I don't know if that's ever going to change. Like I say, it's unknown. People take advantage of unknown situations, and it's kind of annoying. But this was fascinating because when I messaged you saying, "Oh, talk about if you've ever had any paranormal encounters," and you said no, but then you've obviously seen a shadow person, so you have technically you've had a paranormal encounter. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
So
I totally forgot about it until I'm sat in the place where I actually had it.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, that freaked me out a lot. Well, it was as soon as you mentioned just sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just took my mind back to it. I was like, shit. In fact, there was one thing my mum said. There's this woman that used to go into her shop when she was younger. And she's not known, she started saying stuff about all her, relatives and things like that. And then one day, my mum had been in this bike accident This woman didn't know whatsoever, but she turned around, she rang my mum up and said, you've been in an accident, haven't you?" And my mum was like, "How do you know?" She says, "Well, my daughter's been in an accident too, so I was ringing up to make sure you're all right." And it went, they're like, my mum didn't even know her.
Didn't know,
So it's
yeah.
like, what the hell? How on earth did you manage to know that I've been in an accident? I've not seen you for years
Yeah.
or months. And it's like, you just can't explain
Can't
it.
explain. Yeah, there's some things that you're never gonna figure out. Like that there that the most similar thing to that would be like the connection like twins have to one another.
Yeah, I struggle to believe my mum when she says it, but, but what? I can't exactly turn around and go, no, no, she didn't. No, she didn't,
Yeah,
because I wasn't there.
yeah.
And
No,
obviously, I wouldn't even have thought then. But the point is, it's just, how did that woman know that my mum had been in an accident without even seeing my mum for God knows how long?
how long?
Just wandered into the shop, just rang her up when my mum were at home saying, "Are you all right? My daughter's been in an accident, so you have." It's like, what
Yeah,
the
it's
hell?
crazy. It's such a crazy. That's why I admit
But
that's why I get into the that's why my fundamental thing. That's why I got into the paranormal because some of the shit that happens in it is ridiculous.
the woman didn't want any money,
Yeah,
anything. It just, it's things like that that make me think, yes, this stuff's real.
yeah,
But then you've got the ones that are just hand out like that. Give me money, and I'll tell you information. It's like, no, just go away. Because
right.
she's also been to, see tarot card readers and things like that.
Yeah,
And there's been a point where she's done it. This guy's said stuff, and he's gone. So what have you learned today? It's something like, "What have you learned today?" And then it's like a case of, well, she's gone, "You've not really told me anything whatsoever, and you've just taken me money." And he goes, "What have you learned today?" And she goes, "Well, don't trust the likes of you."
yeah, that's
But
it.
and then he was like, "Well, you've learned that not to trust everything everyone tells you."
Yeah.
So then it's like trying to, again, you can end up losing money to try and find a decent person.
Have you have you ever had a tarot card reading?
No,
So
no, I haven't.
I'm a I'm a a huge fan of them. So I've got a few decks. I'll try and get them out on next podcast we do. And
Oh, that'll be fun.
I won't do a reading, but I'll show you everything because I'm a big fan of it if they're done correctly and stuff. But
I do want to learn it, but I've been told you can only have tarot cards if someone's bought them for you. I don't know how much truth that is. I don't know.
no, like look, mate, a lot of
Or
things
you
in
can have it as a gift.
like a lot of things are like a lot of things like fuck it we'll try we'll go into this now like obviously because my tarot cards are spelled because I spelled them so that's they're
Right,
like
okay.
but no most things in like weird paranormal situations that yeah people say so I've heard like oh you can't use a slate Ouija board right like from back in the day like one that's made out of slate because the letters are
Yeah.
cursed and I'm like, you full of shit. You full of shit. Like what? So you're telling me every slate, like, because obviously back then, witches used to curse their own Ouija boards in case someone else tried to use it because it's kind of a powerful tool. But I was like, mate, like how naive are you to go? Or all slate like Ouija boards have been cursed? Like no, go away. That's not even like remotely true. That's not even like
I was going to say, it's like it's been on a production line and someone's just there cursing each and every single slate
yeah,
Ouija board.
just like yep,
It's just
cursed,
not going to happen.
cursed. Like, no, it's so far fetched, and I'm like, I get that some are cursed, but I'm like, who the fuck, unless you're like really into like either antique collectibles or witchcraft, like that's what you do on a daily basis. Who the fuck's owning a slate fucking Ouija board?
Weight's heavy as well. Who's carrying that around?
You know what I mean? It's like you drop it once, you even tap it on something, and it's just cracking.
Boom.
It's shattering to pieces. I'm like, some things are so far fetched. Like a lot of like say you can't have tarot cards in case like it's a gift. You like there's so much like just unnecessary just what you'd class as like
Because
wives' tales to be just like useless.
Because I'm naive to it, it's like, whose advice do you take on board? Because I don't know, I might be able to go buy some tarot cards off for Amazon.
Yeah. Oh, you can.
Well, there we go.
Just go buy them. Like, just go buy some. That's what they're there for. There's no power in the deck. Like in the deck of cards you get, it's the person who's using them because it's what they do. It's like if they're a practitioner of witchcraft, like mine is spelled. So, like there's certain things. Like anybody can go get a freaking. Like the amount of stories I used to hear on like Ouija boards, like oh you had to rip the Ouija board in half, smash a bottle of fluid on it, and then set it on fire to end the fucking session. I was just like, mate, you're so fucking like
Jesus.
like.
It's like just throwing a Molotov cocktail at it. Jeez.
Yeah, I was like, that's so like just to end the session normally. You don't have to do some crazy stuff to be. Oh, like it's so weird. It's such a weird thing that people have this concept of certain things. Like it's such a just like I don't know. It just stems from like it does. It's all stems from like old wives' tales. Just being like you're just like hanging horseshoes above your door or like just it's
for good luck and things.
yeah like
It's like superstition then.
yeah it is like yeah superstition yeah.
And it's just trying to weed out which ones are actually true and which ones aren't.
Could you imagine doing that if you imagine you're all right, you're all sat around a seance, right, you're all about to have so you all do a seance, right, and then someone pulls an Ouija board out, right, and then they pull a bottle of fluid out, like, and then they pull a lighter out, and everyone someone set my fire alarm off.
As we're talking about fire.
Fire, yeah. The minute I say fire alarm goes off. Like, yeah, imagine that on the table, and then you're like, right, and then like you're going through it, and you're still confused because everyone's like, why the fuck you got a bottle of fluid? And then like you end it, you just say goodbye, right? And my man's like, goodbye, smash, boom, like what? Like it's not happening. It's not fucking happening.
It just seems like an overreaction.
Yeah, it's something that is like someone's told him to get rid of like a spirit or something, and like it's so I couldn't imagine it. I couldn't imagine just
a giant fireball.
It's like what have you done here? Because the only thing I know for certain with the Ouija board is that once you use one, like don't try and destroy it. So if you want to get rid of it, go put it in storage somewhere. Don't try and set it on fire or destroy it or anything because bad stuff can happen with that. But that's understandable. Like she's trying to get rid of it, not trying to end a Ouija board session where you just go goodbye. That's it, goodbye. I don't need you trying to like fucking use a flamethrower on it, trying to like destroy it. It's like what the fuck.
I just got visions of that viral video with a guy with a flamethrower going straight to that wasp nest in front garden.
Such nice so.
Moral of the story: just put it up in loft somewhere or in storage.
Yeah, it's like what other like superstitions have got like double meanings to it? Or like when people sage the room, like you know when people sage.
I've seen that.
Right.
I've seen that been done because we went to this. Me and my mum went to this like I say it was meditation, but it seemed a hell of a lot more than just meditation.
Right. And that's like so. Most people are like, oh, it's for cleansing, like the air, like it's cleansing the energy around you, right? Which that's fine, but it also affects on the spirit world. So if you're like, say you're doing your own house and like you're like, oh, I'm feeling something negative, and you start saging around, there's an odd chance that you might piss off whatever spirit that's been bothering you even more because you're just pissing it off. You're just saging it. It's like when people walk around the house and like they start shouting like religious provocation to a ghost or something. I'm like, you're not getting rid of it. You're just pissing it off. Like, stop. It's like, who's told you these types of things that this works? Just stop. It's not healthy. Like, it's like
it's not helpful.
yeah, obviously, like it's a good thing to like stand firm with, like, especially if you've got like say you've got a haunting in your own house. It's good to like stand firm, stand strong, keep your defenses up, and be like, technically it's my house, get the fuck out, right? But you can't go the minute you go like I come over the next day and you've got a black eye and like a broken arm and I'm like, what the fuck did you do? And you went, well, I was firm, I told you to get out, and then I started being like, in Jesus' name, get out, and then I was like, and then you got through across the room, obviously, because you just pissed it off. You didn't do anything to it. You just annoyed it. Like that's like that's like the hardest thing to get, especially I've seen it firsthand on investigations. I've been in an investigation and like with so if you came on an investigation with others, if anyone came on, would talk like this to the spirits. You'd have a conversation with them. But I've been on things where I'm like, I'm, I can remember in a trans Allegheny lunatic asylum in America. I can remember just casually, I'd set up all the cameras. I was walking down. I had a digital recorder set in my hand. I was just about to do EVP. I was like, right, we'll do a burst session EVP, which is just like quick sessions, and then we'll listen back to it. I'm like, and I've got this new person with me. Boom, put burst session on, and he's like, oh, because he's English, obviously. So people who's like, I'm probably going to use some like English swear words that might sound a bit weird, but he's like, right, you bunch of wankers, show you. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, like.
It's like if you say that to a normal person, you're gonna get uppercutted.
Yeah, I was like, like one, respectful, be respectful of the dead and the place shrinks. Like a lot of people died there of disease and stuff and like mental illnesses and certain things. But I was like, bro, like we're not even like in the part where people have claimed to been like scratched, pushed and stuff. We're in like a nice bit of it, and you're like, bunch of wankers, show yourself. You think you can pick on people? I'm just like, mate, get out. Go, like, no. You're just making it worse. You're making it so, and not for us, but you're making it so worse for yourself. And it's just, oh, people love doing it. It's such a, it's especially this is another one that I noticed, but I think it might change from person to person, and I think it depends how the church sees it. So especially when you're involved in an exorcism. Like a lot of priests will be like, "Oh, don't listen to the deep. Like, don't listen to the girl because she's going to be speaking. Like, don't say anything. Don't talk to her," which is a good thing, right? Because then the next thing they always say is like, because she's lying. That's what they do. They try and lie. So I'm stood right. So I was stood there and I was like, right, okay, not know what I'm doing. Not going to say anything. The next like 5 things that girl said was spot on, was the full truth about me that no one knows about, and I was like so there's this like misinformation where it's like, I get why you don't want me to listen to them and like think that they're lying, because like it draws me into them, so it offers me the opportunity to be possessed after and stuff. So there's certain things, but I was like, you got to lose this thing about the lying, because they're not. I can honestly say that girl knew things about me that nobody knows.
You've never told anyone.
Nobody knows. No one will ever know. And you're trying to tell me. And then you get like, oh, you need to stop listening to her. I'm like, one, I'm not listening to her, but two, she's actually telling the truth. Like that stuff happened. But they're so caught up in their own ways.
That would freak me out. That would really freak me out. That.
Oh, it's like, it's the only thing that it's like TV, like movies and stuff about, like, you know, like demonic, like possession films and stuff, where they'll be having a conversation with the girl and she's just racking off things that are true about other people. She's like, oh, I saw you doing this with this person the other day, and how did you like it? And it's the only thing that's true. And I can honestly say it's freaky, it's weird, and yeah, I didn't talk to her. But I was just like, I literally said to one of the priests who were there, I was just like after, not why it was going on. After, I was like, you're full of shit. I was like, you're full of shit. Like, that needs to change. Like you
called him out on it.
You trying to say to me that she's gonna lie, and then in the next breath, everything she just told me is 100% true. but that's just their way of doing it. I think it's just how they handle it. So there's a lot of just weird misinformation in the world of the paranormal that's just stupidly like just crazy. Like
It all just sounds interesting at the same time, even though it's difficult to get your head around. It's it's that bit that makes you want to keep looking into it.
yeah, like it's like it's the same with like mythology, like just anything's got like weird stuff like so like if you look deep enough, there'll be some cases of like vampirism, like back in the day. But then it's like, where do you get this thing that like they're afraid of garlic, and like just certain things? Like, where does all this come from? I'd love to know because we all know that some legends and myths have like somewhat truth to them. There's an aspect to that truth to them, but you need to figure out which bit is the truth because obviously it's all based
But
on
then
that.
it's just obviously we can't go back in history like Bill and Ted do to try and find this stuff out.
To find out, yeah, and obviously
Yeah.
if there was anything like so I don't know if I can say this. I'll say it on stream. Fuck it, it'll be alright. So I've been around like this weird vampire scene, like because my sister used to be like a goth, like in that whole aspect. I was transitioning out of cult life and coming back into the real world, but then transitioning back into it a little bit. It was kind of weird, and I ended up being at this pub. Well, what we class as a pub. Well, it's not a pub. No, outside of it looks like a pub, looks like an English pub, but inside's massive and it's been renovated and it's private and yeah. So I've been around these modern people who think they were vampires. I'm not getting too into it because I don't think it's like I don't think it's appropriate for Twitch and YouTube what happened, but it was so weird. Like it was the first time I'd seen people actually drinking other people's blood, which was weird.
I've heard of a medical thing.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called, but
so there's a medical thing, but then there's certain places and a certain trend where people were actually not like not you could obviously you can't drink stupid amounts of blood because it's bad for you, but you can drink little amounts. Yeah, they'd go and like there'd be donors there. There'd be people who were there. I can't name names because I don't even know if this is illegal. I could just be spouting illegal nonsense right now, and I'm probably going to get arrested tomorrow. But there was there was donors there that you like they'd cut the hand and stuff and then bleed into it, or there'd be certain other ways to do it. People with needles that draw blood. Who were, and it's not just like some randomer sticking a needle in you. It's someone who's like a nurse or something who's got medical training drawing blood and put it in. But yeah, it got and like seeing that was like kind of crazy. Like
I've seen again. It's one of these things I've actually seen on TV, and thought, is this actually a real thing? I don't know whether I saw it on Criminal Minds or whether I saw it on CSI. Obviously, it's dramatized, but from someone to come up with this idea, it must have happened somewhere.
Yeah, that's it. There's a weird like it was a weird part of my life to just like to go back into it and just be like all of them actually thought they were like real vampires, like they were getting something out of it, but they just weren't. It wasn't like none of you are real vampires. If I literally stab you in your face, you're gonna die. Like stop this whole thing of like you get an eternal life drinking other blood. But then there's few people who are so I knew well I didn't know, but after the night I knew the woman who owned the place, which was so that turned like a little sexual with her. Like so, we're not getting into that. Only one person knows what happened there because it was weird. And she'll probably watch this and she'll understand. She'll be like, yeah, I know exactly what happened. But so there's a group of us that it was like a sexual thing, but everyone else was just bonkers. I'm pretty sure everyone else was bonkers. Like just I don't know. Like to be honest with you, it was that messed up and that like this is just me speculating. They could have been like actual vampires there if they exist, if that's what you believe in. And I wouldn't have had a fucking clue, like because everything was just
oblivious to it.
Yeah, everything was just too like it's too much. So I don't know. I don't think like these old stories you get of the paranormal and like myths and legends and stuff. I don't think you'd notice it in the 21st century. I think it'd have to adapt to even survive the. Could you imagine if you're like walking down the street and the actual first sighting of a vampire you saw was like fucking dressed like Dracula? Like it's not gonna happen. That's not gonna be it. That's not gonna be it. It's gonna be in normal clothes. They're not gonna be dressed like fucking Dracula. It's like
Just with a cape on.
yeah, just like it's such a like. But then if throughout history, this is what irritates because like obviously I never go off full belief. Unless it's faith because obviously you have to go off full belief or faith. But everything else has got some sort of logic to it. I'm not the type of person to go. I believe in vampires for no reason. Like it's not like I've read about cases like do I know they're actual vampires? No, because I can't time travel. I wasn't around in like 1638 or something. That's not like.
Yeah.
But there's accounts of people being like nailed in coffins like with big stakes. When they've opened the coffin up, there's no one in it, and then someone's like visit them at night and stuff. So there's definitely even who Vlad the Impaler is.
Heard the name.
Yeah, so he was supposedly had some ties to being a vampire, like obviously because his name was Dracul, which is obviously for their language it's dragon, but also means obviously Dracula.
Yeah.
So he had ties to being a vampire and shit because
People say it originated in, was it Romania? I think it was.
Romania, Pennsylvania,
So it's just
like no, a lot. Yeah, see, because a lot of, not Pennsylvania, a lot of fucking Pennsylvania. A lot of people get mixed up with Transylvania and
Mhm.
Romania, and it's like I wouldn't even
Just,
I wouldn't even know where like it originated from.
I couldn't tell you that. I've tried looking things up, and it's different articles of different things. So it's like you just flip a coin as to which one you want to believe to go with.
That's why the best thing for like paranormal and stuff like get off the internet right and go like find like diaries and journals. You might have to pay.
Textbooks and
You might have to pay a bit, but like because the internet's gonna give you a like a history lesson, but you're not gonna know for sure until you start reading some old journals from like someone named like I don't even know Maggie Thorntron from fucking like you say some like Transylvania or some daft like wilderness like you know what I mean you're not gonna know until you find like
yeah,
a diary of that stuff and it's real so it's kind of it's kind of weird it's like it's like a like I don't know why there's even medical conditions like there's a medical condition that people think they're werewolves and stuff as well so
what?
yeah so it's a weird thing
Jesus,
it's a weird
never heard that one before.
yeah it's such a unusual thing to do like I don't even know like 'cause
What
it's
did they do?
I like
Walk around on all fours? Or?
I like werewolves. I don't know how they do it. It's one of the things I'll never understand because obviously
It's intriguing though. I just want to sit and observe someone.
it's like just observe them on a full moon
Yeah.
because it's like. But even that's got some mis like does it try? Obviously we know the full moon has some purpose, especially for witchcraft. Like the full moon means like the moon, like the lunar cycles mean quite a bit in
Yeah.
witchcraft and paganism and stuff like that. It's especially like winter solstice and like summer solstice, all that type of stuff. Which is, if you ever get a chance to go to like a pagan like event, you should get to one because it's kind of mad. The last one I went to, everyone was like boobs out, naked, like weird like garments on and stuff. It was crazy. It was such a crazy freaking
I
time.
think I would definitely be straight out of that comfort zone of mine.
Like yeah, it was weird, but a lot of pagan stuff's to do with like nature and stuff. So you see a lot of nudity in it. Especially I've been involved in a few pagan rituals that were very nudity based,
Yeah.
but not as in like sexual. Like it's kind of weird to explain. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. As some. I'll look up for next podcast. I'm gonna get some like weird superstitions that tie everything together, and I'm going to tell you which ones are absolute bullshit and which ones are real. Because it's like there'd be so many. There'd be so many to do with like just even having like a cross, like having a cross in your house. Like no, like
Oh,
what?
my grand's got several around the house.
Yeah, like it's and it's like oh, but the minute you turn it upside down, it's negative. It's like go like no, like the only reason like crosses get turned upside down, it's just especially when it comes to like demonology and stuff, especially like when you see scratches in threes and stuff. So three, like in demonology, three is a big number to look out for because it's obviously the mark, like it's the mark of the Trinity.
Yeah.
So like an upside down cross, same principle. It's just like you see it a lot of the like demon encounters and stuff, especially when a demon or like really negative things like they'll scratch you in like three, so you'll have like three scratch marks on you because they're just mocking the Trinity, or you'll have a cross in your or a cross, you'll have a crucifix in your house and they'll turn it upside down. Just it's not like it's a negative thing. It's just them like it's just them being like fuck you God. Pretty simple. Pretty.
Yeah.
Because people always
Just kind of rebelling from it.
yeah people always have this weird version of the devil. Like let's get into it, like because obviously it's still to do with paranormal. Like they don't like I think people have understood the devil so much that they don't understand that he used to be an archangel.
Yes, and he fell from the
So he technically
heavens.
still is an archangel, but people see him as like this mad thing. Like and I'm like, nope. It's like I'm pretty sure he's still an archangel. All he did was got banished. Like and it's
Well,
so
they actually say that in the. Again, I'm referring to TV programs because that's like my knowledge kind of thing. In the Shadowhunters, it's still part of that thing, the archangels, but like you say, he got banished,
it's just banished. That's it.
and they just portrayed him in the underworld.
But nah. If someone says, "Oh, if you went to someone who didn't know anything about Christianity or anything like that, and you were like, oh, the devil," well, if you said, "Oh, Lucifer," they'd probably know like you were talking about the devil, but I don't think they'd understand the full context of like who he used to be, what he still is, and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's still so much like, oh, it's just fascinating. That is just
Or they just turned to again TV program Lucifer.
yeah, like so yeah, some British dude who's like owns a club and just
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So it's films and TVs have have a lot to answer for regarding people's knowledge of this kind of subject or subjects. However, you need to really go and look it up for yourself
Yeah,
and
there's
I
nothing.
say experience some of it yourself.
Yeah, experience it all. Just die. I always say you can't like dip your toe in. It's not gonna happen. You're
It's
gonna
all or nothing.
yeah you gotta dive in, and that's why I know so much about everything because I just dove in. I dove into Coven life. I dove into witchcraft. I dove into cult, which I shouldn't have done, but like, I dove in everywhere, and it was just like you get where you are, and it's just it's crazy to think that I don't know. It's just sad to see. I sit here sad and I look at things and I'm just like, the way the paranormal world's going is just bonkers. Like more shows
Yeah.
get like because I enjoy paranormal shows because I can like critique them. I can be like, you're just full of shit. You're like you're not even real. Like that's what the fuck is that?
Oh, I remember you saying that about a game you're playing. Oh, what, a few months ago. It was close, but I can't remember the game.
Freaking hell. I don't know.
God, no,
It's probably
it's gone.
yeah. I was probably critiquing it, being like it's fucking absolute useless and just being like everything's wrong in it
Pretty much.
because it probably
You said
is.
there was a few things, but they miss out a hell of a lot of parts to the spells and things like that. They do bits of it, but then they don't kind of finish it off.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, it's like nothing ever gets finished. Because you know what irritates me about, it? Especially like this. Like, I'm gonna call everyone out. Like, if I go on a ghost hunt, right, with people I do it with, right, and I go, there's six of us, right? 6 of us on a ghost hunt. There is 6 of us on a ghost hunt, right? TV, with this where people get wrong, and open your eyes, people watching TV, right? They go, oh, there's just us 4 in the building, right? But then yet they've got a camera crew following around, so there's not just 4 of you in the building, is there?
You've
There's
got sound guy, you've got cameras, you've got multiple camera guys.
because you're making a TV show, that's how it goes. So no, you haven't. So you go in, oh, I've just heard someone slam a door, and you turn around, and then it's like, well, or they'll go, oh, well, you can not, or these are our like POV cameras, so you can see all of us, so you can tell if like we're not making that noise. And I was like, well, where's your producer's camera? Where's your sound guy's camera? Where's all the rest of them cameras that they're with you? Because you turn around because you go, oh, point of view, and you turn around and you see the sound guy there with his boom, like, and you're like, was it him who made the noise? Like, it's such annoying to watch. Like,
You just got Curious George slamming door.
It's like it's so annoying. It's so like you just think I don't. But people, I don't think people ignore it. I don't think they process it. And I'm just like it's not like
That's the thing when watching TV. You just focus on what the actual presenter is saying
yeah, and it's
and what they've shown you, like from the point of view camera.
And it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think as well because I'm like, how I do it, I'm like, I don't want any outside influence. So if I'm like, yeah, everyone knows where everyone is. So it's like if I walk around a corner and there's a little girl there holding a balloon, like I'm freaking out because there's a little girl there holding a balloon. She's not with us. She's not with anybody else. I ain't got to worry about walking around and seeing a camera. Like a camera guy's trying to fix a camera. I walk around a corner and it gives me an heart attack because I'm expecting nothing to be there. Like it's so it's better.
Yeah.
Like you have to, especially when you're doing investigations, you have to have control of certain things, and that's what. That's why I don't go on paid ones because you've got no control. You have to do everything they say, so it could just be a full setup of just nonsense.
That's what always makes me skeptical. It's where you have no control.
Yeah,
I think due to me being autistic, I like an element of control, so then I can see for myself that it's kosher.
yeah.
It's not, it's not tampered with in any way. Well, at least to my knowledge anyway, that it's not been tampered with. So the results we get is what actually happened rather than, like you say, an outside influence.
That's like, yeah, and it won't ruin it, especially these people who like, and this was in one of my YouTube videos. Like, ruins it. Like, imagine you're actually interested in it, and you get there, and then someone fakes something, or because you got no control, you're into something. That's like me bringing like Tom, come on this investigation, right? And then you know how I do things. You know it's set up for. There's nothing like there's no outside influences. When I say there's 6 of us, there's 6 of us, and then that's me getting a 7th person dressed up as like the nun from the film, like The Conjuring and stuff, and having a run at you through a corridor. Like, you're either gonna shit yourself or you're just gonna be like, obviously it's
Back
fake.
them out.
And that's it. The paranormal is ruined for you now. Like, it's done. It's literally done. So you can't.
I just walk off and never come back again.
Yeah, it's that trusting. It's that trusting of being like, you need to be able to trust the people you do it with, not to. That's why this whole thing of 17 people on an Ouija board. No, who's pushing it? Like it doesn't need. We don't need 17 kilotons of energy going through our bodies into this thing to make it move. It's not. That's not how like logic people use logic. I know you can't use logic for the unknown, but logic dictates if a fucking spirit can tip a board, like tip a table like over,
or throw a person around the room,
or slap you, or scratch it. It can move like this planchette by itself. You do not need to have your fingers on it at all. Like,
yeah.
So it's not like it. You see some weird stuff like just people like. It's such a like an interesting field, like the paranormal whole side of it. But it's so frustrating sometimes because you're just like, we're doing this nonsense again. Like,
yeah, it's just figuring out where to start if you actually wanted to start and look into this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, and it's like some things like I can remember like the first paid investigation I went on to. Like I got
you got paid or you actually paid?
No, I paid to go on it because I'd wanted to see what it was like. I got locked in a cupboard for half an hour. Like,
Why?
I stupid because they wanted me in a coffin. Like there was an old coffin there, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get in a coffin. Who don't want to get in a coffin? I'm a actual investigator. I'll get in this coffin." Like, yeah. But obviously, because it was like from fucking 1800s or something, it was like one of them what you'd see like old school Dracula getting out of. So my shoulders are too broad to fit in it. So even me like this, I was just won't fit in. So they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's this like old clock tower. I want a cupboard." It was a cupboard door to get into the staircase. So I was like, "Oh, I'll go in."
That's
But
similar to like my church.
yeah, mate, and I
Nearby church.
couldn't do anything. I sat in there, sat on this spiral staircase while everyone was doing a Ouija board. I wasn't allowed to film, wasn't allowed to do digital recording. I was like, I come out of that closet.
What's the point?
I was like, I was like, did you say? Because obviously when you're in there, I was just chilling, like, and I didn't even know at the time. I looked at the time when I got out. Locked me in there for half hour. Couldn't get out. I literally couldn't get out if I wanted to. I was just like, it's stupid. It's such a stupid thing. I didn't do anything. It was not because they.
Might have been sent to the naughty step.
Yeah, well, they classed it as isolation. It's like, oh, do you want to be isolated? And like, that's like, anyone who's into paranormal stuff's like, yeah, let me, like, yeah, I'll go in this creepy room for an hour by myself. You know what I mean? Like, the more creepy, the better. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, 16 people got burnt alive in here, and like some like massive pentagram and demonic worshipping went off. It's like, I'll isolate in there. Get me in there for an hour. Like, this is better. Not, oh, do you want to do some isolation? Yeah. Well, I'm not, am I? Because I can't fucking capture any evidence. I'm just sat there, so nothing's happening. It's dumb. Such a fucking dumb thing, man. So stupid.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh wow, we've been doing this for 2 hours now.
Yeah, we are gonna end it there because I need to figure out like food and stuff. But I think it went, mate, for 2 hours. I think it went quite well for a first one. We talked about some stuff.
Well, I was only expecting like half an hour to an hour for a podcast, and 2 hours later.
2 hours, we should be good. I'll like for the next one. Well, I want to go through some like. I'll probably get some like not video clips, but some stories from other people of being like, if their house is haunted and stuff, like some articles to read because most of them are just full of shit.
We definitely just scratched the surface with this.
Oh definitely. Yeah, I wanted to give everyone a bit of taste what we were going to talk about. So like the amount of stuff I skipped over for like witchcraft, the amount of stuff I skipped over for like shadow people is ridiculous and everything. But I just wanted to get everyone into what was going off and like what's cracking off. But yeah, when do you like? Or we'll figure out when to do next one. I want to maybe a couple of weeks, depending on how it goes. Probably get a couple of weeks out, and we'll just figure it out.
Either a couple.
And then
hopefully I'm not rushing off to a hospital again. But yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine. And then we'll see if we can get. I've got some other people who are interested in getting on as well, so we'll probably get some more people.
Oh, brilliant!
On. So. That'll be kind of interesting. Who's got their own crazy stories of like stuff happening? If they're willing to share, I'll speak to them because they want to come on, but I don't know if like because they know me a little bit, but they don't know me like too well. Like I kind of enjoy getting deep into conversations, so I don't know how far they want to take it. So I'll ask them.
You're gonna have to kind of quiz them the psychology way.
Yeah. So I'll get it in there, and then. I don't know. We'll figure it out. It's not bad. 2 hours. Talked about a lot of things.
Well, say I didn't know if I was going to do much talking. I've not done too bad.
No, you've done fine. Like I say, it's not going to be anything crazy.
I didn't know I could talk this much.
Yeah. So we'll figure out. We'll probably talk about some other subjects as well when we get in there. Because I was going to leave mental health out of it, but we touched a bit of mental health as well, which is a good thing as well.
Sometimes it can go hand in hand though with this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, it's very.
I think. End it here, innit? Time to
get on. 2 hours.
Call it here until next time.
We need to do some gaming as well because I need to pretty sure my phone's dead. My Xbox is turned off. My PC's probably going to turn off in a minute. So.
Oh, I'm still in that party on Xbox, so...
Yeah, I think people
I don't know if anyone's actually there, but...
I'm pretty sure Scott joined earlier, so...
Yeah.
It was
Scott and Tristan, so yeah.
Yeah, it was it was done. But yeah, fuck it. We're gonna end it there, peeps. I do appreciate everyone stopping by for the podcast. The next one, I'll tweet out when the next one is, but we'll either do one at the weekend and then we'll get doing a few each week.
If we can get them set on certain days, then it'll be much easier.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you a schedule. I'll just because I'll work around you, because obviously my schedule.
Anytime after 3, because I've got jobs to do in the morning.
My schedule's pretty set, so I'm available for whenever. So I'll just just send me. I'll send you some dates and then just send me whenever, and then we'll figure it out and we'll get it done. But fuck it, let's end it there. I do appreciate everyone stopping by. First episode went bad.
Thank you.
We will we'll be back again in a few days probably, and if you enjoy the video, feel free to subscribe, there'll be more content on this available, but I do appreciate everyone stopping by, chatting, showing some support. It means a lot. If you're streaming, I hope you've got to have a stream. We've got morning, evening, afternoon, night. Stay safe, and yeah, peeps, we will catch you on the next one. Much love.
Bye.